Whether you're watching a TV show or a movie, or even playing a video game, there's always going to be a side character, or a villain, or just any character other than the main character that you put on the same pedestal as the protagonist. But I want you to imagine if those very same beloved characters, whether it be a villain, or just a main side character, were nuclear striked by the writers and turned into walking fraud checks. Yeah, and I'm not talking about the side characters dying as they often do. I'm talking about their character themselves being put on the sidelines to make room for the main characters. This video will have spoilers to Naruto/Naruto Shippuden. Alright, let me just get closer to the screen to talk to you guys and... At the start of Naruto, aside from the main character who obviously stands out amongst the rest, there are many different interesting characters. Sasuke, who was all cool and laid back and ore farming. Sakura, who was annoying and mean towards Naruto.
He doesn't have a mother or father, no one to teach him right.
Neji, who was also nonchalant and kind of just like a cocky dude. Yeah, you get the gist. A bunch of unique characters. But there was one who seemed very silly in his first introduction. Seemed like he had motivation and determination, but he just seemed like a side gag character who would maybe just fail at things and be overly optimistic. But that's until we get to the Chunin exams. And if you haven't watched Naruto, the Chunin exams are when academy students and genin, who are like lowest of the ranks when it comes to ninjas, go inside this tournament, test themselves to see who is good enough and who is the best enough out of the group of genin/academy students in order to move on to the higher rank that is Chunin, hence the name Chunin exams. But I'm assuming most of you already knew what this is. In this tournament, as essentially an underdog in this fight against this kid named Gaara, he pulls off something amazing and surprises the audience. For context, again, for those who had not watched the show, he was facing this kid named Gaara, who was this no-nonsense kid who seemed to be always scary, kind of in his own bubble that you did not want to mess with him. So when we're introduced to this cast of characters, we are inclined to think that Rock Lee doesn't stand a chance against this guy, as he seems super goofy, right? That's not until bro asks Sensei Guy, his sensei, to essentially unnerf himself, and bro just starts going crazy. Then after that amazing display of this aura, spoiler alert, he still loses. So iconic, one of the most iconic moments in anime history, bro. But after that entire scene, yeah, bro just goes back to his goofy self. And then the next cool episode we really get to him, if my monk memory serves me right, is when he's fighting Kimimaru, also known as this guy who can project bones out of his body. And this guy seemed to be a real threat, at least for their level. And in this episode, Rock Lee was taking medicine, I believe, and he ended up grabbing the wrong bottle and essentially became drunk and was sent out on this mission right after that. And he was essentially activating drunken fist combos on this dude.
I know that shit, that's drunken fist!
One of the funniest, and I think one of the most underrated scenes, I'm not gonna lie. But then we get to Shippuden, right? Shippuden, for those who don't know, is essentially the sequel to the original series, which is absolute peak. And this is when Naruto, the main character, is essentially crashing out. For those who don't know, he's essentially possessed by this beast inside of him, to put it simply. And him and his sensei throw hands with him, like in a very goated way. Like they hit some tag team combos on him, like whole dance choreo on him. But the problem is, from here, we don't get any cool scenes with him. Yeah, he's a side character, but there were so many missed opportunities with this guy. No, not that guy. This guy. As this dude gets continued to be put on the sidelines, essentially for the rest of the show. And even before all of these scenes I spoke about, there's just large gaps of him being underutilized. Yes, I would say, honestly, in the original show, he was utilized more and had cooler scenes than he did in Shippuden. He had some, but most of them were literally just with his sensei. And I don't 100% blame the writer of this series, Kishimoto, as this series has such an amazing and vast amount of characters that are well written and likable and unique in their own way. And it would be hard to really flesh out every single one of them. But at the same time, this dude was just way too cold for him to be put on the sidelines like that. To be honest, he should have died so he didn't have to be in Boruto. Alright, God bless y'all. See y'all on the next one.